Okay, so I've let this dry out a little bit, so it's much more leather hard. I'm going to show you how to do some different style feet. Like I did here, I'm going to add two more. Obviously, two is not going to do the job. And then I'm going to show you how to cut a lid and add a flange. So I have already scored and slipped the bottom of this. And so I'm ready to add my feet. Now I start with just round balls that are about the same size. And just like I did my other ones, I'm gonna flatten a side a little bit so I can score and slip that. Now I'm gonna start manipulating this a little bit before I put it on the bottom, because I kind of want it to curve. Like these kind of curve, kind of have a little bit of indentions. So I'm manipulating it a little bit before I put it on. Now using some pressure, I'm going to attach. Again, I've already scored and slipped and prepared the bottom. I scored and slipped actually twice because the bottom was leather hard and I felt like I needed to do it a couple times. Now I'm simply blending in that piece of clay that I just attached to the bottom, trying to get some of those seams to go away to make sure that it's completely attached. I'm not really worried about the shape just yet. I want to get it fully attached before I start manipulating the shape. All right, so it's fully attached. So now I'm going to start manipulating the shape. Now I want it to have kind of flat sides because my container actually has flat sides. So I'm going to take and kind of push this against, like I'm pushing with my finger and pushing in on this straight surface, and that kind of gets kind of a flat edge. Now I'm going to do it this way too, and that way I can manipulate that ball of clay into being more flat instead of so round and organic. Now right now I only have 3 feet, and these are probably not level, and so once I get my last one on, I think I'll be able to level out the feet. I'm going to manipulate that one a little bit more. So I just use a straight edge, something that's a little bit sturdy, something plastic will work as far as manipulating that. All right, so I got one more to do. Okay, so I have all 4 feet on, so now I can simply set it up, and I like to do kind of a gentle tap, 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 and that will flatten some of those pieces so then it lays nice and straight. Next, I'm going to cut a lid. All right, so cutting lids is a little bit scary. Now, whenever I have a design like this, sometimes I like to kind of hide my lid and use my little design in here to determine where my lid is, I guess you could say. And I'm gonna go around all 4 sides of this. So I need to kind of just pick my path. Now I'm using this tool. It has a very sharp kind of blade on it, and it helps kind of cut through the surface. Now I'm not actually gonna cut through the surface completely right now. I am finding my path. So essentially I'm just drawing this in. Now I don't know if I want to go straight across or if I want to keep it kind of more organic, kind of like the rest of it. Now this side doesn't have any textures either. Well, not on the top where I want to keep my lid. So I'm just going to kind of make my path again. This does have textures, so I'm going to stick in one of those. But then I'm going to need to go up because my end point here needs to match up. So I'm going to go, I don't like that. I'm going to have to go something like this. So I have kind of a path going all the way around that's very organic, very different as far as the lid goes. Once I have my path, then I can go ahead and cut all the way through. Now I do have bags still left in there to keep to support the form that once I cut all the way through, I will be able to take out. But as I'm cutting, it is getting kind of caught in some of those bags, and that's okay. So I just kind of go out and then go back in if I feel like I'm getting caught on a bag. Just like cutting a pumpkin lid, you should be able to take it off. And now I need to very carefully remove these bags, trying not to misshape anything. Misshaping can keep my lid from actually going back on the way I need it to. So, all right, I feel like I got all of them out. So now I need to do a little bit of cleanup. I need to clean up these edges, and I also need to clean up these edges. You can use just your finger. When I do this, I do it very carefully. I don't want any sharp edges left with the clay, but I also don't want to manipulate my piece too much because I want my lid to fit. So I'm just trying to clean up some of those sharp edges and not trying to misshape or change my lid in any way. I have cleaned up both my lid and this. Now, inevitably, when you do the cleanup, certain things happen and a little bit of change happens as far as manipulating it. So I like to put my lid back on, and you'll see that it doesn't fit exact. So I can do a little bit of smoothing and manipulating. Now I can use a tool to do this. Now on this side, I don't really feel comfortable using a tool. I don't want my texture to go away. I put it there for a reason. So I'm just going to use my finger on this side to kind of smooth in that seam and make it look a little bit better. Again, I use my texture to make my lid. So all I'm doing is just trying to make sure that it's fitting together and like it originally looked. Now this is a smooth side, so I can use a smoothing tool to kind of manipulate this to fit a little bit smoother. I mean, again, it doesn't have to fit so perfectly that you don't have a seam. It's pretty impossible to do with clay. I just want to make sure that it fits well enough that it looks aesthetically pleasing. Now, in some cases, you need to add a flange because you don't want your lid to go sliding off. So that is going to be the next step. All right, so let's talk flanges. So I made a crazy shape lid and it's less likely to go sliding off, but I'm still gonna add something to keep it from completely sliding off. You can add something like a coil on the inside. You can also do it on the inside here. I'm going to add it, I think, on the lid to keep things from sliding off completely. This thing can go all the way around. It doesn't have to go all the way around. It's more secure if it goes all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and score on the inside of my lid. So if you had just a straight cut all the way around, the flange is actually 100% mandatory. I think with a design like mine, it's not completely mandatory, but I still want to keep my lid secure, so I'm going to add it. I'm going ahead and slipping. This is very leather hard. Oops, I just poked it. That'll add to my texture, I guess. This is very leather hard, so I'm going to score and slip twice just to make sure that my flange doesn't fall off. So I feel like that's ready. I just need to make a coil. Now I'm actually going to flatten this coil a little bit. I feel like that makes for a better flange. I probably don't need this whole thing, but I definitely want to have enough. All right, so I'm simply going to put this little coil, and I want it raised. So I want it sticking up a little bit from my actual, where my lid attaches. Oops. You know what? Let's go ahead and score and slip this as well. Since it's a flat coil, it's easier to do that. So I'm going to use a little bit of pressure and push this into this crazy surface. Now it's a very crooked surface. It's very jagged. So that makes it a little bit trickier to attach a flange, but I feel like I can manipulate the clay enough in order to make it work. And I'm going to go ahead and smooth that coil into the lid. Okay, I'm going to smooth this out a little bit, just make it look a little bit better. I know that a lot of times people are like, well, it's going to be on the inside, who cares? But people look at the inside, they look at the bottom of pots. Why, I have no idea, but it does happen. So I do want to make this look clean, even though it's on the inside. All right, so now I have a flange. Now I just need to make sure that the lid still fits with the flange. So my last step is to do finishing touches. My little feet down here may not be perfectly symmetrical. I probably need to do some manipulation down here before it completely dries.